Jason Lee joins me now from the Yemeni capital of Sana'a. He's the Deputy Country Director for Save the Children in Yemen. I imagine you've had a chance to glance through this report. What's your reaction to it?
We welcome this report, actually, because the findings of the report, unfortunately, are what we see on a day-to-day basis. Every day we see children coming in that have been injured by the airstrikes, with horrific injuries, children that are malnourished, starving, unable to get access to healthcare. So I think all of the findings of the report is something that we actually welcome, that it's actually been documented and shown, because we see it on a day-to-day basis.
How are people getting by when food supplies are so short, when their loved ones are being killed routinely? How are people managing to live?
With great difficulty. And the worst thing is the longer the conflict is protracted, so the longer it lasts, the worse this becomes. As you said, there's a lot of flow-on effects from the war. We've got malnutrition, staggering amounts of children that are malnourished. We're now in a situation where 80% of the population requires humanitarian assistance, which is unprecedented. You've got emergence of diseases such as cholera, diphtheria, purely because the health system is completely strained. There's no medicines in country. Doctors haven't been paid salaries since 2016. So the country is literally falling apart. There's no economic activity. So the ability of everyday Yemenis to continue living on a day-to-day basis, it's a struggle for them, and it's getting worse each month the conflict is protracted.
You've been making the case that this level of warfare is unsustainable. Now the United Nations have issued this very strong report. Do you really think the world will take any notice?
I think the world has to take notice. There simply is no other choice. Yemeni children cannot wait for another 5 years for a resolution. The situation is bad, and as humanitarian actors, we basically act as band-aids to try and prevent. We essentially act as a thin line, essentially, to try and stop the population from going right to the edge. But we are not the solution. And to be honest, the world has to act. Yemen and Yemeni children cannot wait.
Just give us a sense of what daily life is like for you. There you are in Sana'a. Do you have enough supplies? Do you have enough people to do your work?
Despite being in Yemen, I'm incredibly fortunate because I'm in Sana'a. I'm not facing the same struggles that an everyday Yemeni person will face. I don't have the same struggles with regard to accessing food. I'm not in the same sort of risk of being struck by an airstrike. I'm not in a conflict zone. I have access to water, clean water, which many, many communities do not. When I'm sick, I'm able to get medical care. I'm able to leave the country if necessary in an emergency. These are many luxuries that I take for granted that an everyday Yemeni person does not have access to. So my condition of, yes, I'm working in Yemen, but the circumstances of which I live is very, very different from everyone else, a Yemeni person.
Jason Lee from Save the Children, thank you very much indeed.